Hey, yay, 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 na na, hey. Okay, so I know I just busted everybody's eardrums. I'm sorry about that, but I can't get over that opening song of Overlord. I had to replay that opening song at the very least 3 or 4 times before I even started watching the episode. It was so fucking good, man. I love that opening song so much. I don't know. It's not an opening song I thought I would like, but just hearing it the second time around, it just sounds so good. It really does, because my inner gamer comes out, and it's like, just to see how this series is done, it's something I think majority of us, if you've played a lot of RPGs and MMOs and stuff like that, you really wish you were like in this situation. I bet majority of us do, because it's that type of anime series, and it's just so addicting to sit down and watch this. But this series, okay, Overlord, did not have the problem it had last week. As I discussed earlier on in my first impression / review of Overlord last week, I said that the animation that looked very choppy, like it looked like it was lagging, like, you know, breaking and shit. Well, I explained that that wasn't in the Raws, that was in the Funimation stream, and so that wasn't Madhouse's fault, and with this week's episode, we don't see that type of issue. Everything seems fine, everything looks good. I mean, it's standard Studio Madhouse animation art style, so it didn't seem like it had anything massively wrong with it, like, you know, last week's episode did with the first, like, 4 or 5 minutes. That was just destroyed. But this week's episode, we take a different approach. We take an approach to kind of give characterization to all of our different guardians of each floor, the guardians of each floor, the floor bosses. And I like this approach of the way this episode did that, and let me explain. In last week's episode, it ended on a high note. Like, I really like the direction of Studio Madhouse, the way they ended last week's episode off and then started this episode, because it was a really cool way, the way they did it, and I don't know how many actually caught on to this, or they just, you know, went with it and they're like, I don't give a shit. I wonder how many really didn't give a shit, but last week's episode, in the ending, it had it to where all the floor guardians appeared, and then they started bowing before, you know, the Lord, the Overlord. They started bowing before the Supreme Ruler, and, you know, they were just introducing their names. And then the episode ended with, you know, a panel of showing, you know, our Overlord's eyes glowing red, and then the episode ended. Well, with this week's episode, we get to see that ending scene again, but from a different perspective. For instance, all the individual floor bosses or guardians pop up, yes, in order like they did, but they get more characterization on them. We get to see more of their personality, to what they are, to, you know, their loyalty to their Overlord. And I like that the way the first part of this episode was kind of the same but different, just showcasing from a different viewpoint of these individual characters. And I like the way Madhouse did that, because it had it to where last week's episode ended on just a build-up, a fucking crazy-ass cliffhanger build-up, and you're like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then with this week's episode, we go into the in-depth with these individual characters and see what is really about them. And I like how they chose to do that, because if they would have tried to explain these characters at the end of last week's episode, there's two things that would have happened. Number one, it would have felt very rushed. That's one thing. And number two, it would have felt like it ended on a, like, meh type note for a first episode, because when it comes to first episodes of anime series, you need to be able to grab the attention of your viewer. You need to be able to grab them, hook them down, and then just place them down where they don't want to leave and stop watching the series. That is how anime studios should design their first episodes, and I like the approach, the way that was done, especially with how this episode started. I know I'm talking a lot about episode 1, but it has a lot of relevance when it comes to the beginning of this episode, because of the approach of episode 2, the way it continues off of the way episode 1 ended. So that was my viewpoints on that. Now, getting in depth with some of these, I'm really liking the vampire girl. I think her name is Sheltier or whatever. I think that's how you say her name. I'm liking her quite a bit. She seems like she's going to be that type of character that is going to be like the flat-chested character that is going to be madly in love with her Overlord. And as we know, the girl that, oh my god, just the breast touching scene from last week's episode. I forgot her name. I don't know exactly her name. It starts with a D, by the way. Trying to remember everybody's name. Please forgive me. It's taken a while, because there's just so many anime I watch, and it takes a while for me to really get all their names processed in my head. By the time next week, I should have a lot of the names down. But, you know, the leader of the Guardians, when she was having her little dispute and argument with, you know, Sheltier in this episode, you could see that they're going to be like the characters that are going to be for the comedy and romance. Like, it's very easy to tell those two characters, like, main points when it's not serious, when you have these slice-of-life moments, it's going to be with them with the comedy, fighting over their love for their Overlord, because that's what we got to see showcased in this episode. Now, personally, I know some might have mixed feelings about that segment of this episode, because some could say that this is kind of detaching us away from the entire situation of what is going on in this verse, because as we know, the main character, our Overlord, he is stuck in this new world. Like, it's like he got teleported into a new world. The NPCs are living and breathing now. He can smell and touch things, and every time he has, like, these certain emotions, like if he's getting way too emotional or something, like he calms himself down with this automatic thing that happened in last week's episode. We come to find out more about that, but the point still stands. Like, I wonder how many feel about that scene with the comedy when it came to Shaltir and then the leader of the Guardians, because it might have slowed down the pacing a little bit of this episode. But personally, the reason why I actually like that scene is because it makes it feel more realistic. Let me explain. As this series is already trying to do, it's trying to let us know that this is not a game anymore. Like, it's making us know this is a different dimension. This is not a game. This is no longer inside of a game engine, a gameverse, or whatever. This is not a game. It's like a game turning into a damn real world. It's not Log Horizon. It's literally just a game turning into a universe, a real universe. And that is what is going on. And for the past 2 episodes, it's like the creator of this series, whoever wrote this series, is trying to let us know, no, he is not in a game. He's in real life. And so seeing this dispute between Shaltir and then the leader of the Guardians, it makes it feel more realistic, like, you know, a real life universe in anime, because it doesn't feel like it's just a game, because NPCs can't have a dispute and argue like that and just talk to each other. So it makes it feel a little bit more like a realistic verse that we see from other anime, and then which leads into something that was really interesting I liked about some of the endgame of this series that was hinted at. Supposedly, the other Guardians, like, you know, the vampire-looking dude, you know, the dude that was a lizard that transformed with, like, wings and a lizard-type face, well, that guy right there, he makes a really good quote. Like, he makes a good line in this with some dialogue that makes me wonder about the future of the series, because he says, like, wouldn't it be cool if the heir of the Overlord, he was like, you know, our heir, and he was the king and the ruler of us. Like, think about it for a second. Since this is a real verse now, this is no longer a game, so if you die, I'm assuming you die for good. Like, there is no respawns at all. There is no respawns. And so if the Overlord dies, he dies for good, and likewise with the Guardians. If the Guardians die, they're gone for good. And it makes me wonder things real quick. Like, since it is a real verse, and they were talking about wives and stuff, and he was bringing it up, one of those two, Shaltir, the leader of the Guardians, are going to become the wife of the Overlord and have a child. And so the way he was hinting at is like, when the Overlord eventually leaves us and is said and gone, he needs to leave us an heir. He needs to leave us an heir for we can watch over him and, you know, have a new lord to rule in his stead. And so I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, I wonder if that's how, like, the series is going to end, or the chapter of this current Overlord is going to end with him dying and passing on the torch to his son. Because we do get some endgame from our MC. He says he wants to conquer the world, which I've already assumed, because the series is called Overlord, and, you know, he's kind of considered a demon king, demon god, or whatever, of the entire verse, if you think about his situation. And so, it's obvious he would want to conquer this new world, and it's really cool. I like that quite a bit, the way he's going about this. I mean, I wonder if he's going to become a character that will be evil, or is he just going to put on this persona, this mask? Because there's a lot of questions I have. Because if he wants to conquer the world, he's going to have to do a lot of dirty things. But, who knows? Maybe the world is already evil, and maybe he has to destroy that evil. I mean, hey, that'd be kind of fucked up, because the ending of the episode does hint at that, if you think about it, because you see a bunch of humans on horses and stuff running around, and that's the cliffhanger we're left upon. You see them running around and say, like, go to the next village and burn it down or whatever. They're, like, attacking villages, and so these humans are just going around attacking villages, and I think that the Overlord is going to try to stop them, and maybe he's going to conquer the world in a sense of justice, actually. The people that fight against him might be for the evil side. I don't know, but I mean, that's what I think is the way it's going with the direction, especially with that ending. But no matter what happens, I am enjoying Overlord quite a bit. It's a very entertaining series. You can't get enough of those rape faces from the leader of the Guardians. Oh my god, those rape faces looked really nice. And so that's about it. So, What's your favorite moment of this week's episode of Overlord? Did you enjoy it? Did you love the setup? Did you love the compassionate Overlord? How nice he was to his servants? How do you feel about the comedy? How do you feel about the romance? How do you feel about, you know, him still being a mage and not being able to, like, really use a sword because he just drops it like that? Just let me know your thoughts. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.